Hello, everyone. Welcome to Learn From Us podcast. As always, I'm Seth with Paul. Paul, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
We have a wonderful guest in today. His name is Jacob Salem. He's got 10 zillion followers on Facebook. Find him on Facebook. But, Paul, you're in love with this cat.
I wouldn't say in love.
Yeah, that's awkward.
I'm not awkward about that at all. Not awkward about it at all. It's just that he is very good at what he does, though.
Well, I'd love to learn what you do because last podcast we had a guest on and Paul knew nothing about him, and now we're switching.
Yes.
I've watched 2 videos on Jacob.
So you're an expert.
Already. Absolutely. Just like that, yeah. I can tell you a lot about Bitcoin, too, if you want to know. I'm an expert on that, too.
And Magic the Gathering versus real estate.
Yeah. So from what I gathered from the get-go is you have the innate ability to fire up your phone and talk to your fans, which is something Paul's still never going to do.
Jacob knows all about that.
I absolutely do. It's job security for me.
It's good. So tell everyone, including myself, who you are. Paul, do you want to tell him you want to do a bad introduction? He can follow up with the good one.
Jacob helps us with our marketing online, a lot of our Facebook stuff. We hired him for Learn From Us. And then he said, Paul, you are not willing to be the douchebag that you need to be. So
You told him that?
More or less.
Yes.
I don't know that that's my language, but more or less.
did you not say douchebag? Okay, we'll
Pretty sure
move
it
on
was
from that one.
More,
Keep going,
either way.
Paul.
That was pretty much it. But we still, with Dynasty Owner, I said to Tim one day, I said, listen, I think Jacob did an awesome job teaching, Nettie and then Don and then Mary and Tim how to do Facebook ads.
Yeah.
But I wanted like another view of it because we've had some struggle with Facebook lately. And so, I said, let's go call Jacob again and get him rolling on it. And he did. And he gave us the bad news. Their Facebook ads looked good. So he taught us well, but then we weren't converting. So that's a good thing. But either way.
Jacob, what is your one sentence? This is what I do.
I help small businesses generate more leads and close more sales.
Through Facebook.
No.
Oh.
Now, Facebook is my jam. It is typically what I'm known for. But as we've learned, as we talked about Dynasty Owner and other things, Facebook is just one piece of it. You have to have email. You have to have follow-up. You have to have exposure. You have to have video, and you have to have photos of you actually being the rich gentleman that you are. So other people will come over and follow you and actually create a presence. So Facebook is just one tiny piece of it. It is a major piece, but it's generating leads. And
he just helped us with our email campaign, and I was just like, God, we were so off on the email campaigns.
Oh, tell me how this got going. Let's go back a few years.
Good, yeah.
Yeah, like where'd you go to school? Do you have degrees? What were you into in your early life, and how did you get to this state?
Yeah, so this is really you're gonna find out how much you learned in your 2 videos. So actually, I have a degree in religious studies. I was halfway done with a master's of divinity before I decided to stop at least pursuing formal education. Formerly a senior pastor of a church about 300 in Beaverton, Michigan. Formerly a full-time traveling evangelist, which I still do travel and preach a little bit. I just don't pursue it full-time and kind of go through those doors.
Do people ever yell, testify, Jacob, testify?
Yeah. No, well, Pentecostal churches,
Okay.
I can get some amens, I can get some preach. I like preaching at
So it's
Pentecostal
interesting you
churches.
say this. Paul definitely employs a bunch of people who have the same spirit,
Yes.
but normally you're not drawn to a more religious folk. I would say.
Listen, Jacob, we don't want to get the religious conversation right now, and with Mary and Tim here and Jacob, but at the end of the day, they do a good job doing what they do. So
this is not the first guy that I've met that's transitioned from sort of not so much a pastor, but an evangelical into like a public speaker-ish.
Yeah, that's...
So I cut you off. Keep going. So you're learning through the divinity school. And keep going.
Well, to touch on that a little bit and how I think we relate is... All right.
He does this stuff all the time.
Fair enough.
Keep going. Just gotta plow through, Jacob.
I like to be normal, and I think that's why I can relate and work in other industries and work with other people. Is I try to actually, be normal. I'm not holier than thou, so that's kind of why it works. I think. So either way, so I built and sold 2 companies. I built a training company, and I also built a lawn care company. Were my first companies. Then I went to school, got the degree, started traveling and preaching and representation of the school. While I was traveling and preaching, I realized that I did not feel comfortable asking churches for an honorarium. Like, hey, fam, you got to pay me $2,500 for me to come preach, or I just can't come, right? And I like going to some of the smaller churches that are struggling because I feel like those are the towns and the communities that need hope, they need help, they need inspiration, and they need Jesus. I think we all do. So then I began transitioning a little bit. How do I become a speaker, a public figure? That was the exact transition too, Seth, where I was like, okay, well, how do I monetize this talent of speaking, which is what brought me to the Zig Ziglar Corporation. So then I invested. At that time, their program was $5,000, and I was broke, $115,000 in debt.
That much, huh? How'd you get so bad?
Student loans to become a pastor, of all things.
It cost $115,000 to become a pastor.
It did cost
I could have
me,
got you on the internet for like $13.
Yeah, I without going too far down this rabbit trail, after I decided to go a separate way, I got ordained online for like $50. So it was great. It took
If
about
only
15
you'd known
minutes.
me. No, I'm just kidding.
So then I invested to go down to the Zig Ziglar Corporation.
So I don't know anything about that either.
Yep.
Can you tell me a little bit about that, what that is?
Do you know about Zig Ziglar at all?
Well, I've heard the name.
Okay. So
it's a comic book character, right, Paul? Keep going.
Mr. Zig Ziglar was a renowned speaker, trainer, coach, wrote an umpteen books, millions and millions of sales, influenced 250 million people while he was still alive. And so they have programs on goal setting and achievement, building winning relationships, building the best life, really about happy, healthy, reasonably prosperous. And so they're a company built around integrity and then also influence. So because the Ziglar brand was already so big, I wanted to become associated with it because I knew it would help me by getting that stamp of credibility. So naturally, I took out 2 more credit cards because I had no money left anyway. And so I maxed them boys out and went down to Dallas for a 7-day event, or I think it's a 6.5-day event, they call it, to become certified to speak and teach some of these training programs that they had, which then began opening doors for me that I couldn't do. I started building This Is Where Social Media. Now, this is where social media really comes in. I already had a social media page established on Facebook where I was preaching the gospel, just sharing the good, simple gospel truths. I began using that platform to grow my speaking business, which was teaching businesses on goal setting and achievement, building winning relationships, and building the best you. Those were the 3 core courses that I could bring. Even did my own open enrollment event, and outside of my pastor, my parents, and a few friends, no one showed up.
Yeah.
So I realized that I was learning. I had a lot to learn. So this is the real story. This is the uncut story that I just started sharing this year. Really, it was about 6 months ago I started sharing this story.
Yeah.
People ask me, Jacob, how did you sign the Zig Ziglar account? How did you get Ziglar to let you take over and oversee their marketing? How did that pitch go? And the real pitch is I basically emailed Tom, hey, Tom, I'm certified trainer underneath you guys. I love it. You guys are transformational. Here's everything I've done. I built a website, built an email list. I got my lead magnet in place. I'm building my followers. I'm dialing in on Facebook ads. There's things that I know. I literally want to just be around you guys. I need to learn how to do this better. I'm missing some things. So I will literally move to Dallas, whatever it takes. I will scrub you. And I wish I could find that email, but I can't. I emailed them basically saying these words almost verbatim. If the only opportunity I have is to clean your toilets, I will scrub them with my own toothbrush with enthusiasm to make sure that it's a job well done. And I think that's what it takes too. When you're really trying to learn, when you're really trying to grow, it takes commitment. And so nothing came of that for a few months. And a few months later, it was
As in they didn't respond, or as in they were just like,
there
hey,
was nothing.
No response, nothing.
Yeah, there was nothing at the time. Which is, what do you say to that? I mean, I was 20, probably 22.
And you're how old now?
28.
Okay.
I'll be 29 at the end of the month here. And so I was 22 and just basically looking for my shot. A couple months later, he messaged me on Facebook, hey, Jacob, do you have a few minutes to chat? I think I have an idea. And he basically said, Billy Cox with Billy Cox Motivation, he's got a couple million followers himself. He's a massive influencer on social media, is the one who's been overseeing our accounts. He's agreed to mentor you and teach you how we actually grew our page to the 1.2 million followers we have right now. However, we would really like you to take things over and become the guy to learn. And I actually remember this conversation, Seth and Paul, very, very specifically. He said, Jacob, we have 1.2 million followers. We have not monetized those 1.2 million followers.
I was going to ask you that, but keep going.
And if you can figure out how to turn 1.2 million followers into $1.2 million, you'll have a job for life. You'll have job security for life. And so my initial role with the Ziglar Corporation was simply posting on their page 4 times a day live, following the algorithm that Billy came up with. That was essentially what I was hired to do. Everything else came later. Facebook ads, which I did learn directly from Facebook when they had a program called Facebook Go. I was able to actually learn from Facebook how to run Facebook ads. They don't offer that anymore, other than you can get a complimentary session that really goes nowhere. So I learned directly from them how to run Facebook ads. I started studying everything I could in regard to email marketing, landing page, how to make a landing page that converts, how to create an offer that converts, studying the psychology of marketing. And I just indoctrinated myself so deeply into everything marketing, because I'm convinced that if you can use and leverage social media, it will help you grow your business.
Absolutely.
So I know I was long-winded there, but I think that's a nutshell conversation.
Some folks can't even think this way. I mean, Paul is partnered with me with our media company. we do promo videos and marketing, and it's tough to talk some of these old CEOs into this. That like this is the future, right? Video and
it's not the future; it's today.
Well,
it's
I guess
today.
you're right.
It's now.
It's today, yeah. And so it seems like you're pretty proud of your Facebook following. Tell me about how you bolstered this following. I'm sure you're giving and giving and giving on a daily basis. So tell me all about it.
Yeah, well, we simply follow a really standard algorithm, and I stopped following it recently because I get, maybe I'm lazy, but also I generate all of our prospects from paid advertising, so I don't need to necessarily follow the organic algorithm. But on Facebook, the lifespan of a post is 4 to 6 hours. So if I post, doesn't matter if it's a video, photo, backlink, doesn't matter. However many people it reaches in 4 to 6 hours, it reached. Unless it went viral, it might run a little longer, or unless an influencer shares it again down the line, it might pick up some steam.
Sure.
So for my page and the Zig Ziglar Corporation, even still today, I still am the one that runs the Zig Ziglar Facebook page because I'm too proud to hand it off.
Yeah.
I post live every 4 to 6 hours. During our time today, I will actually post on the Zig Ziglar page live, following the algorithm, posting on an off minute, making sure that every 4 to 6 hours I watch the post before to see how it did.
When you say an off minute, like not around 12:15, it's like 12:07.
Yeah, I might actually be old school in that strategy now. So yes, we do not post on 8 o'clock, 8:15, 8:30, 45, or top of the hour. I mean, that's the reason being is when we first started over on the page and I learned the algorithm that Billy was following, if you scheduled a post natively in Facebook and they have a scheduler, you could not schedule on off minutes.
Yeah.
You were only at that time allowed to schedule in the 15 minutes. So I actually figured out that if I would post on 8:16 rather than 8:15, it put me in a different algorithm. However, you can now use so many different schedulers, and you can, which that's a whole nother conversation, and you can schedule natively in their platform at different minutes. But I still follow that. I still believe it works. We try to post on off minutes, different times of the day, which are influx of volume of people wasting their life on social media. So we're there. And but yeah, so we follow the 4 to 6 hour algorithm, and we push out a ton of good content that people want to like, comment, and share on.
It's exhausting, right?
Many times, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paul should do it.
It's tough
though.
to keep up, man.
I wonder how many times I can actually drop into this microphone that Paul needs to
Paul should
post
do
content.
Why do you believe that so much?
Because it works. It worked for me. I was $115,000 in debt. Last year, we signed 44 new clients in our Done For You agency at $3,500 a month retainer. We don't even offer that anymore. But that alone there guaranteed me $1.8 million in the next year's revenue just from the new clients that we signed in 1 year, all generated from social media.
So how many leads do you get a day for your? So what are your what are your? I don't want to say, what are your services that you offer now?
We focused a lot, similar to learn from us a little bit, where we transitioned in 2019 into a training company. We still offer some Done For You services. They're a little bit more exclusive because I wanted to have a life. What I realized in signing the 44 clients we signed last year, even though we have project managers in place, even though we have contracts in place, even though we have rules, terms, and services saying you can contact X, Y, and Z at X time, I'd still get 2 a.m. text messages. Yeah. And that's frustrating. And so...
How many people do you have working for you?
13, but we moved a lot of people to independent contractors. And so right now we actually have 3 full-time employees in-house as W2 employees.
Why'd you make that change?
So from 2015 until the end of 2018, I was able to generate a lot of revenue, create a life that I wanted, put money in the bank. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. I was able to make a lot of money. But what I realized in the process of making money, I wasn't creating a life. And even though we had systems, we followed the E-Myth by Michael Gerber, and I read a lot, and we have systems and processes, it still wasn't designing the life that I necessarily wanted for my business. And so I realized 2 things. 1, I could create a better life by creating a new business model. And 2, we are actually able to serve a lot more people, because in the Done For You space, I'm only able to do so much. Even with the hiring and training and the processes for, hey, you just got hired on as a Facebook guy. This is where you get, this is where you get your training and how we bring you on. I'm still able to reach a lot more people, bringing them into a lower program that has the training where I can speak and really get to coach with people. That is more fulfilling for me. A little bit less revenue. We're actually going to do less revenue this year than we would have in our projections and than we would have last year. But I was able to see my daughter. I was able to spend time with my wife, able to make church every Sunday. And those are things.
Only once a week?
Yeah, judge me for that. It's cool.
Where are you from originally?
Flint, Michigan.
We had that connection. So when he, I don't know how I heard his number. I'm like, 810. I'm like, Flint?
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, because I used to live in Flint back in 84 to 87. And I knew all about Flint. And I'm like, you lived in Flint? He's like, yeah. I'm like, man, nobody lives in Flint.
I was watching his videos. Like, this dude kind of sounds like he's into hip hop.
I like anything and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's basically nothing I wouldn't listen to or.
Let's hear a little wiggity, wiggity, wiggity whack.
Crisscross?
Is that who it is?
Yeah, bro.
I don't know.
You know,
Crisscross.
Dude was born.
What do you listen to, Paul?
You were born in 90?
Everything.
90?
Yes, sir.
90.
90.
That's when the Crisscross album came out, bro.
Yeah.
I thought it was later than that.
Because I'm the Miggity Mac Daddy. So something that came up that I can't believe. So we wanted honesty on this podcast. We preface people coming in like, we want to talk about business and numbers. There are versions of people like yourself. I see them online, and they're so general in what they do. They're promoting synergy and a comprehensive approach. And it seems like, from what I'm gathering already, there's more tangible things that you're doing for companies, which are like, Paul, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, of
All
course.
the experts that are out there that I don't even know what the hell they're talking about. I even go to their webpage, and there's so much copy and horse shit. I don't even know what they're talking about. But regardless of all that, so I like what you're bringing. How did you transfer from a mindset of religion into a mindset of I need to make more money and money gives me options, all of that? That seems like drastically different things. Because in this day and age,
It can be.
I mean, I'm finding more people I talk to is just money is so bad, and people that make it are bad. And I think a lot of
Two billionaires came out recently, finally, and said being rich isn't a criminal activity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I sent you that link today. You and Timo.
I wanted to talk about that with you on the next podcast.
Oh, okay, but either way, so
Go ahead, Jake. Tell me about that, because it seems like two drastically different approaches. You know,
we get I get some pushback from that a little bit too.
Do you?
A little bit. You feel some reservation. One of the reasons why I actually haven't advertised to go preach again is because of the success that we've had. Because I do like to preach in the smaller churches and smaller towns that are predominantly broke, and I'm predominantly not. And so I want to touch on two things. You said two things that are important to me.
go ahead.
In January of 2017, we rebranded our business name to EZMetrics. The reason being is I realized everything is in the data. Everything needs to be data driven. If it's measurable, it's scalable. And so it's not just fluff. It's not just copy.
it's easy as an elephant zebra.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. Appreciate that.
No problem.
But literally we have, data. I have screenshots to back everything up. So if things work for Paul, I can screenshot and say, hey, this absolutely worked. And if things don't work, I can, hey, Paul, man, listen, this didn't go through. But here's what we're going to do to adjust it to try to fix it. Everything in social media can be measured. It can be scaled. It can be adjusted to make it work. That's the one piece. I really wanted to address that because that's really, really close to me. The second piece is the money side of things. I really feel like I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. When I was 14 years old, I was a pharmacist without a license.
Oh, there we go.
From Michigan.
Yeah,
I told you he was into hip hop.
Yeah. So
My back's hurting. What should I take for that?
Yeah.
Cannabis.
We actually do have a pending sale right now for a CBD website that I'm 50-50 on whether we want to take it, which we'll probably take.
Or what's the joke? As soon as he brings it up, it's like, hey, man, you selling? You selling right now? It's like, why? You buying?
Yeah.
Keep going, man. Keep going. So
I mean, literally, I've always had that entrepreneurial bug. My father is an entrepreneur, a small business owner. He's the one that taught me my work ethic. He still works sun up to sundown. He raised me to believe that when the sun is up, you're supposed to be working. Now, I've taken that information, and I have had heart-to-heart conversations that I absolutely don't believe that you need to mind the pennies and the dollars will take care of themselves. I don't believe that statement. I believe you should focus on how big of dollars can you take in at one time. I genuinely believe that at my core, and I do believe in balance, that when the sun is up, it doesn't mean I need to be working. It means I need to have systems and processes in place to where I can have income and predictable revenue coming in.
Paul sleeps till 9:30 on Saturday, sometimes later, right, Paul?
I have to set my alarm for 9:30, so I wake up at 9:30.
Yeah, I'll pray for you. No, I'm just kidding.
I was actually offended for a second
It
there.
won't
I'm
matter.
So with that though, the ministry side of things, I literally didn't know we'd be talking about this now. I had a conversation with my team yesterday about this. So one of the last classes I completed toward my Master's of Divinity degree was called ecclesiology, which is the study of church. So like, how are you going to do church as a pastor? What does that mean? Well, in the Wesleyan tradition, if you're familiar, John Wesley actually kicked rich people out of his church. So because the scripture of
Actually, Tim and I were just talking about that this morning, right?
Who's Tim?
God, Seth, you're Seth.
Welcome to the Learn From Us
Anyways,
podcast.
go
My
ahead.
name's Seth. Keep going, Jacob, man.
And so in that class, and this would have been 2012 is when I was in that class, And kind of toward the final exam, you had to present in front of the room, who are you going to preach to, right? What does your ecclesiology look like after attending this class? And this is a Wesleyan school. It's a Nazarene university. And I'm like, I'm absolutely going to preach to all the people that John Wesley kicked out of his church. Like I'm actually serious with that. He kicked out the rich people, so who's going to minister to them? And not to sound greedy. So I've always kind of had that bug.
Well, why is that greedy?
Because
we're indoctrinated that it's supposed to be.
Yeah, so like
supposed to be, right?
If you're supposed to be in the church and humble and holy, then you don't want to pursue
That's
money
why I asked.
because it can pull you away from Christ. And I do believe it can. The scripture would say the love of money is the root of all evil. But there's a preface there, the love of money, like what really consumes your heart. And so we've been very successful. God has blessed us abundantly, more than I could ever ask or imagine. But it's never.
So he picked you.
No.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Thank you, Paul. I work hard. I don't preach a prosperity gospel. We had 18-hour days. I'll be 29 this month, and when my hair grows out, I got gray hair all on the side of my head, and I'm not even 29. So we work hard, and we put in what we need to put in to get it done. And I completely lost my train of thought.
Sorry. Paul butts in with the.
You were talking about the money and the root of evil versus what's in your heart.
So we never let it go to our heart. I mean, literally. We wanted to be successful so we could have options. Money has options, which is what I was talking about today on Facebook. So I know which video you watched, and one of the two. And we've been able to give it away and bless people and employ people. I actually believe, and I think I learned this from Robert Kiyosaki, which is a lot of the people that are employees will blame the rich, but really it's the rich and it's the people that give them the opportunity to have a job. And so it's me.
So Robert Kiyosaki isn't the first one to say that. It's called
wrong guy to quote him from.
It's the first one in his life.
Yeah, first one in my life.
Yeah.
There you go.
So do you know who really said it, or who gets the quote, or no?
Well, I mean, it's just we talk about. I mean, even talk about you go back to look at economic history of everything economically, and it's who employs people.
Yeah.
When has a business ever started for?
I wanted this to be a whole podcast. How many people have you employed?
Oh, jeez.
Because for me, it's none. I'm not even that charitable.
Mary Tim. Hundreds?
Because you sent me an article about how, here we go, some of the Democratic nominees want to overly tax the rich to get pay their fair share, and that the rich, some of the more wealthier folks are fearful that will reduce incentive to create more jobs. And I just thought to myself, I've never provided a job for anybody.
And maybe directly you never employed anybody, but you provided jobs for people in other ways.
Yeah. But I mean, for you, I was like, geez, you get bored and start another podcast.
Yeah, I know. And listen, we can get in that rabbit hole, but like Jacob's saying,
you're right.
No, and by the way, it's important because it's, there's that part in the Bible that says, rich man get into heaven's like the camel through the eye of the needle or whatever. And I've heard people say, well, it doesn't really mean that. It doesn't really mean that. I mean, what do you take that as? Do you really take it as if you're rich, therefore you are out of heaven?
No, I take it as the emphasis on the word love that I was looking at. What does your heart really desire? Like, do you really desire the will of God? Do you love Jesus? And we don't need to turn this into a sermon, but I do look at it as, do you really love Jesus? Do you really desire his kingdom? I have a ring on my finger that I bought when I was Uber. There was a lot of my life where I was living in my car and different things that I went through. It was $5, and it was like my only $5. I'm pretty sure I maxed out another credit card for it. I played that game for a long time in the wrong way. And the scripture that should still be on it, you can't see it, is seek first his kingdom and righteousness, and all things needed will be provided. So like if I still know that in the core that I'm seeking first his will for my life and his kingdom and his righteousness and taking care of his children, if that's still a goal of mine, I believe I'm still fulfilling what I'm supposed to be fulfilling. And if I get rich in the process, I think that's okay too.
So Lisa and I always talk about, and Lisa is the first one who ever told me, money magnifies. And I never heard that before until my girlfriend said this like 7 or 8 years ago. We weren't dating. She goes, money magnifies. She always said that, if you're nice, you become nicer. If you're mean, become meaner. If you're charitable, you become more charitable and all this stuff. And I've always noticed that. So that makes me go, but I do believe I meet a lot of rich people who are just not good people. You know what I mean? There's a ton of them out there who are not good. So it just tells me, are we just all not good people in general? I mean, as a society in general, do you meet just a bunch of assholes? Because I do meet regular people. I'm like, man, they're ungrateful. They're entitled. And if they became rich, they'd be even more entitled. I mean, I don't know how it works, but I mean, there are a lot of a-hole rich people, right?
Well, I brought up this money idea because I try and train. I'm a photographer for the last 10 years, awesome. And there's tons of photographers that actually, it's like they want to be successful, but they don't want to charge people because that's bad.
Yeah.
So money's bad, charging people's bad, but somehow they want to make more of it. It just doesn't even make any sense. It's
They wouldn't turn down a wedding for $10,000. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, it's just strange. But I'm getting off topic. What kind of?
You're not though.
How?
I
I'm
think- yeah, that's on
surprised
topic.
you
Yeah,
find your clientele on the platform of Facebook.
Why is that? Why are you surprised by that? And Jacob can go into more of that because it's something we're struggling with as a company.
Have you ever heard that before?
Yeah, from all of our clients, including me, including my sales team. So I have 3 full-time sales representatives, the ones that are in-house with us right now. And it becomes a numbers game. It 100% is a numbers game.
Give us some of those numbers. What does it cost you to get a lead?
Cost per lead right now is still pretty cheap for us. A lot of people have moved over to YouTube. That's a big, massive thing right now. Everybody's moving to YouTube. Because of it, I've doubled down on our ad spend on Facebook, because when you leave the platform, that gives me more room to play. And so I've loved the fact that influencers are bashing Facebook and leaving Facebook. It has been...
Well, I was shocked when you said this is your jam. I would assume... I was assuming you would be like an Instagram guy, but I like your mentality about it.
We run ads on Instagram. So my average cost per lead right now for me, we can talk my industry or whatever industry, I probably know the data for most industries, is an average about $2.25, $2.80, maybe upwards of $3.
What qualifies as a lead then?
We're targeting small business owners and offering...
No, I mean like when a lead comes, is it an email saying what?
They are typically signing up for a free training video. I've had a really evergreen training video on the my 4-cylinder marketing system that I use that teaches our exact system in
4-cylinder marketing system.
That teaches it in under 5 minutes. It's about 4 minutes and 44 seconds exactly. And that's where the majority of our leads come from right now. We're averaging right now for our program that runs $249 a month is our main program right now. It's our mastermind program. It's really all I care to push out there.
Yeah.
Because it's mailbox money, for lack of better words. So our average cost per acquisition right now is $150.
So 1 in every 65 leads converts.
Correct. And then at 150 per conversion, that means instantly out the gate, we're profitable. So if they don't stay until month 2, I was already profitable. If they stay until month 2, the profit is exponential, because some of these guys will stay with me forever because we're going to continue to deliver value and take care of them. And so I would much rather sell the lower end program, assuming we can hit that cost per acquisition. Now, here's another thing to understand about paid advertising as well. Even though we think we have it dialed in, sometimes ads will fall out. Sometimes things will go sour or stale. And so sometimes my cost per acquisition, not being 150, which it is currently today, we did the numbers yesterday before I took off. What are we averaging, right? So the average of our last 30 members was $150 per acquisition, which is amazing. I will take those numbers all day. However, there's seasons where we'll pay $600 per acquisition. And
Wow.
those are bad seasons. But that means I got to wait until month 4 to be profitable, or upsell to done for you or coaching or whatever it else might be, a website. But either way, it's still a profitable initiative. And so you just play the game. You just kind of play the game. And I don't want to say it's like the stock market because I'm not an expert in that industry, but it does. It fluctuates a little bit and you just kind of wait it out, and we have a lot of fun with it.
What are the pillars that you're providing for the customers once you get them?
In the 250 program, in the 250-month program, we're teaching them everything I do. We have over 75 hours of pre-recorded content with quizzes and exams the whole way through. More so designed for a business owner that probably has a millennial or younger on their team that they want to become a digital marketing, quote-unquote, expert. We have the trainings to do it, from email marketing to copywriting to website design to Facebook ads, Google ads, YouTube ads.
Wow.
It's all online. There's quizzes and exams so we can monitor the whole way through to make sure that people are doing or not doing what they enrolled to do. And so the ones that are most successful in the program now are the ones who currently have a business and the business owner is not trying to go through the program.
Right.
The business owners that say, yes, I want to sign up. Yes, I want to learn this. Yes, I want to do this. Although they have very good intentions, they're running a business and they don't have time to
All
go.
the stuff you're mentioning is just so difficult to do.
Yeah.
While you're running the business.
Yep.
I'm certain the rate of drop off is fairly high. They probably get into this thinking you're going to change their world, and then 2 months later they're not doing anything with it.
Our churn is 4 months, and if they make it past 4 months, we're assuming they're like family at that point. By the time I've sent you enough gifts and notebooks, and you've come to our events, we include quarterly events where they can come to Chicago, and we rent out a room in a skyscraper and stuff, and we like to do it big. We take everybody to the Cheesecake Factory and treat them. So if they've made it more than 4 months, I probably know you pretty personally, and I do not anticipate you're going to walk away. But our churn rate is about 4 months. If you at 4 months, people are calling and saying, hey, I literally don't log in. And I'm like, hey, I literally know that. So, and I'm okay with that too. I'm okay with the 4-month churn.
How many people are on your email list? Don't you have you had a year ago, you had 80,000.
Yeah. So it's only about 107,000 right now, but yes.
Only.
Well, if you think about a year ago, it was 80,000 because it was. So we've only added on about 27,000, but
you've also lost some along the way.
We do. I completely subscribe to the philosophy of buy my program or unsubscribe. So I email the daylights out of my database, and I try to use good quality content that I'm pushing out there to maybe teach you a little bit and move you a little bit internally to get you to buy. But really, I do follow the process of, buy my stuff or unsubscribe. And we send over 1 million emails a month, which really, if you do the fast math there, that's only 10 emails to the entire database. But we hyper segment. I will email you based off of whether you clicked in my email, whether you opened my email. And if you're not opening my emails, I will literally send you an email with the subject line saying you're dead to me, following Kevin O'Leary, if I'm saying that right. You're dead to me. You're not opening my emails. Why did you sign up? Are you really serious about growing your business? If not, please click this button, which is unsubscribe, which is bold. And as we've upset people that way, but really, if you're not opening my emails, I'm paying to send you emails. Like I literally pay per email I send. So, basically buy my stuff or you can unsubscribe. Now, a lot of our business owners that we serve, though, we don't teach them that strategy because
I like that strategy.
Yeah. There's most business owners, gym owners, dentists, chiropractors, the service-based B2C businesses. They don't need 1 million followers on Facebook. They don't need 100,000 people in their database. They need a good 1,000 people locally who know who they are, trust them, and are in their database. In that scenario, you don't want to burn all of your leads because if you're in a small community, you can only burn through so many people before you burn too many bridges.
Yeah.
So it's a different strategy than what I'm using.
So you're getting $2.20 per lead. And Tim, Don, we were talking about yoga and luxury ZLO, and that's what we need help with because I think it was costing us 7 or 8 to just get a lead. And I got to think that's not an easier sell, but that's something that, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
So because I've looked at your ad specifically and I know exactly what you're talking about, the campaign where they're running isn't necessarily a sexy lead magnet where it's saying, hey, sign up for my free training video or my free PDF. It's literally saying, hey, fam, excuse me, hey, fam.
Fam? What?
Yeah, that's just, he's 28. 28. Young.
It's the urban crowd.
Yeah,
they say fam.
Yeah, hey, fam.
Fam?
Yeah, fam.
I'm so out of it.
Fam.
Right,
So, hey, fam. Here's this incredible retreat and opportunity coming up. I think they even show the price, $3,500 or whatever it is. If you're interested, give us your name, email, phone number. So they're not doing just a lead magnet, which would be like what we're
pre-qualifying.
You're literally saying, here's the opportunity, here's how much it cost, and for there was $7 to $18. There was a fluctuation there, but let's say it's $15. You're getting someone to say, yes, I am absolutely interested in learning more. Please sell me. Is really what you're getting.
And you like that, right?
I love that. Yeah, I love that.
Okay, good. But then we're having a hard time on the conversion part. But to me, it's more of listen, cut the BS. Do you want this or not? We're going to tell you a lot about it right now. And if you're, without seeing videos and pictures, a ton of them, and you're still interested, I got you. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I believe the fortune is in the follow-up, whether that be...
Yeah, we don't bombard our people.
We do.
We do a terrible job at that.
So the 3 people that I keep referencing on my team, they are literally required to call you 12 times from the moment you sign up. So
till when?
They at about 12 times they can get the "you're dead to me" voicemail. I don't care. But
12 times in how long?
Over a 24-day period, every other day. So if you came in on Monday, I'm calling you Monday, then I'm calling you Wednesday, then I'm calling you Friday, then I'm calling you Tuesday, then I'm calling you Thursday, then I'm calling you Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Because most people, let's talk about my wife. My wife is an introvert. My wife is on Instagram. My wife does not go out and associate with people terribly too much, and she will never answer her phone. And so we have to continually change our voicemails. We have to adapt to what we're actually doing. Hey, Lauren, just wanted to reach out. I called you on Monday. It's Wednesday now. Looked like you were interested in growing your business, but I haven't heard back from you, so I got this amazing deal. They'll change the voicemail script to try to get you to call back, whatever it's going to take. Mm-hmm. And we do bombard. And we do, if someone's interested, I got to get you while you're hot. Because if you signed up for me today, in 2 weeks, you are not going to remember what you signed up for. In 2 days, you're probably not going to remember what you signed up for.
See, and I always felt like, Mary and I always talked about it. We were more of the... let's not bombard them. But, I told Mary recently, we're effing this up. And, when we met with you the second time around, this recently, I was like, yeah, we just gotta, who the F cares? We have a great product in Mexico. We have everything we're trying to sell, we believe in. So who cares?
Yeah,
if you
if
don't like it, unsubscribe.
Yeah, if they're not buying, then it's not doing you any good to have them in your database anyway. Like if you're not gonna buy something, or at least tell me you'll buy in 6 months or 12 months, or answer my call. Because if you're not, then it's literally a waste of my time.
So if somebody has 20,000 qualified lead emails, and I say that saying qualified, they know who you are, they know what you're selling. How much does somebody be able to make off that per year, like revenue wise? I'm sure it depends on the industry and all that stuff.
Yeah, so it depends on the industry, but let's just quote Russell Brunson. I like to just look at other people. Russell Brunson would say you should be able to make $1 per month per lead.
Do you believe that?
I believe it's industry specific, and I don't know industry specific, but I do think that makes sense. If you're getting good quality people in your database, and another conversation, this is good. My team was like begging me to do more content. I'm going to splice and dice this thing because they said, Jacob, we need you to push more content. I was like, well, the revelation I had this morning at the gym was, we have 107,000 people in our database. We currently do. How many of them do we know? How many of them do we know?
Mm-hmm.
Because if we don't know them, then having a 100,000 person database is completely useless.
And what did they say?
It was a very bad response. Couple hundred we knew.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, a couple hundred.
Oh, Paul wants me to hit a drop.
The crickets. No, the crickets.
Bad response.
Bad response.
Yeah.
Wow, really? Couple hundred.
That we know who they are, what they're interested in, what services they're bringing to the table, why they haven't bought. I want to know their objections, right? We follow a script, POGO, person, organization, goals, obstacles. And I want to know POGO on every single person in my database, because then that person is worth a lot more to me.
A lot of this sounds, I'm certain you're a huge fan of Gary Vee. It sounds very similar.
Of course. I want to, let's just put it here, set it here first. I will be the clean Gary Vee. Give me 5 years. Clean Gary Vee. Clean Gary Vee.
That's your goal? What are your goals?
Well, really, the goal right now is 350 people in my program at $250 a month. That's a real goal. We want to hit that.
What are you at right now?
We're hitting a 100 ceiling, so we'll go up to like 115, then back down to 100, then back to 120, and then back down to 100, and I'm okay with that. This program has only been launched. Our first member joined January 14th, and he's still in the program. And so.
Oh, you just did it this year, so you've got 100.
That was literally November of 2018, and when I was like, I want to change our business model because spoke 40 times. I traveled and spoke 40 times.
I know why you're looking at me.
And in 2018, and it just wasn't. It was fun. My ego liked it, but I missed my daughter.
Where do you get hired to speak? Is these keynotes or these pump up rallies, inspirationals? What are these?
Previously, we would take everything. Absolutely. The answer was always yes. I don't care if it's a networking group. I don't care I don't care what it was. Because I do believe exposure is good. Any exposure. If you hate me and you're going to talk bad about me, great. It's exposure. And if you want me to come speak at your daughter's birthday party, I'm there.
As long as they pay the fee.
Right. Well, no, last year of the 40, sometimes there's 3 ways to get paid as a speaker. You get paid to speak. You can speak to sell. And what we're really focused on now is I want to pay to go and speak. Because if I'm only going to go and speak, let's say 6 times or maybe even 12 times a year, I want to make sure that the people in that audience are buyers. I want to make sure that they're business owners. I want to make sure that they're qualified.
So you pick and choose.
So I would much rather pay $2,500, $5,000, $10,000 to go be able to sell at that event than be paid. So the highest keynote fee I've ever gotten to date was $10,000 for a 1-hour speech. I have a goal. I want to get a $25,000 keynote. That's the goal. And I've actually told my sales team and anybody who can get me that fee can split it with me. I've literally put that out in the universe. I just want to do it as my 4-minute mile. I want $25,000 for an hour, and whoever helps me get it can have half.
I worked for a couple guys that could get it pretty consistently.
Yeah.
And the thing I always couldn't figure out is, how did you get past the barrier of thinking, I have enough things to say to fill up a Gary Vee style channel, or what I'm saying is valuable enough for a company to pay me that? That's 2 questions.
Yeah.
I think one of Paul's struggles, and maybe even mine in my own industry, is, do people want to listen to me talk? Like, I have yet to ever fire up a phone like you. I was walking down I'm embarrassed for you watching you do your thing, even though it's a silly thing to say, right?
Yeah.
And so where did that come where you could say that was me kicking you? Where did that come where you could say, nope, I'm sure I know the answer, but just tell me about that process of just saying, screw it, I'm going to start filming myself with my arm out walking down the damn tarmac.
I did it. Well, I'm in the generation where I was raised with technology, and I was raised with social media. And so my team the new team that I was telling you about, and I'll say it on this, the two people fresh out of prison, or not fresh out of prison, but former convicts, and I learned that a good sales team, it needs to be rough around the edges. You have to literally be able to go from one FU to the next FU with no lack of enthusiasm, right? So if you're making 200 to 400 calls, we have Mary on our team, a gal named Mary, making 500 calls a day.
How is that even possible?
It's an 8-hour day, and she's serious. Now they get residual. They get base pay, and they get residual based off of their members joining and their members staying. And they're driven, and I take care of them. And so she literally is making 500 calls at least 3 days a week. Their minimum, by the way, for their job security is only 100. If you can make 100 calls a day, I'm happy. But they're crushing it because they're.
Did you hear that, Seth?
I'm currently at 5 and struggling to get that done.
Yeah. So there's softwares we use and different ways to speed that up.
Of course.
I don't even know where. Oh, so
Do we have our meeting
my
at
team
2
will
o'clock?
make fun of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, my team will actually make fun of me because if you look back at my Facebook page back to 2015 when you couldn't go live, you could only post videos.
Yeah.
I would literally film videos, and I was younger, and my voice was a whole lot higher. And they
Were you 12?
That's what it sounds like. Yeah,
Okay.
it does. And I was 22 when I started that. I just did it. I didn't think about the repercussions. I didn't think about what people said. And I said this when I was a pastor. I said it in front of my congregation to stir up some emotion. I don't care what people think of me. Like, I genuinely just don't care. If you like me, amazing. If you don't, tell somebody else so that way they can come make their decision too. And that's where I kind of stand.
Paul, you think you care about whether people really like you?
It's that whole, do I really believe that nobody really cares if people, I get what you're saying. You're saying it from the public image standpoint, et cetera. I still, for some reason, get caught up in like, why does that person dislike me for no reason? Why does that person dislike me just because of this or that or the other? That's probably more reflective of me and how I view others though too, right?
Yeah, so either way, I just did it. And then as time went on, I started building strategies. And even now, coming here, Eldridge, who is, all my guys say the same thing I'm saying to him. They beg me, Jacob, please push out content. Like, please take pictures. Please go live. Please do video. Doesn't matter what it's about because they're selling me, right? They're selling me. They're selling community. There's systems and courses and processes, but nobody really buys those things. And if they buy just the course, and then they're never going to go through it because most people don't. They're going to leave. But if they believe they're a part of a community, if they believe they're following somebody who has the answers, they'll stay a whole lot longer.
You said you're looking to hire a video guy to follow you around soon. I did that for a year.
Where did I say that?
I said that earlier. Yeah, you said it earlier.
Prior to the podcast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that bad info to put out?
No. We've done that before. We've actually had a gentleman named Colin who's done that with me when we've signed some of the bigger events, the $10,000 keynote. Sharing the stage with Les Brown a couple times. We brought him out to some of our big events. When I spoke at Get Motivated, that was a life, a bucket list goal for me. Do you know what Get Motivated is?
No.
It was, I don't know if they're even still around, I've lost track, but a massive, massive training platform or motivation platform where thousands and thousands of people come. So it was a bucket list goal of mine to share that stage with Les Brown, and was able to do that. But yeah, I need that full time. I don't even know where we're going with that, but that is a direction I need to go because any content is good.
Yeah, we did it, and we ended up filming just like some of our biggest pieces that went really far was just us sitting like having coffee and then flip on the camera and start talking like I do with Paul.
Yeah.
And we were hitting massive numbers even on like LinkedIn, just video shares. I was just asking some crazy question. And I thought like, why is this way? What do you think about it? That's why we started this whole podcast. But do you have a podcast or?
I don't. I actually joked a little bit with Tim saying that, I need to push out content.
You were saying that,
I need to look into doing that. And if anything, I need more content of me and of the team and of wisdom. And you asked, how do you one, keep up with the crowd and be able to push out that information? So I read a lot, probably not as much as Paul.
Well, I don't know.
And I've heard rumors.
Rumors are true.
Yeah.
False.
Yeah. So I read a lot, but more than that, I listen to a lot of Audible. So I like hard books. I like sitting down and actually drawing and underlining.
Yeah.
But I listen to a lot of Audible, which allows me to get more repetition. Now, when I'm listening to Audible while I'm driving or flying or whatever else it may be, I don't necessarily retain all the information, but it gives me, I'll get some of it. And then some of that information.
Well, it's the same with reading, though, Jacob. You don't retain everything in reading. You just get some tidbits.
I thought my book bag was next to me, but you watched the Facebook Live video today.
Yeah.
The story I told was from 48 Laws of Power, which I'm listening to and reading. I have the hard copy too. Right now, this morning, I'm on my way to the airport listening to Audible of that book, and I heard the story of the king and the poor man. I'm like, great, that's my video. I can just regurgitate it like that.
Yeah.
And although I just heard it for the first time, my listeners don't know that. So that's how I kind of stay up. I'm always learning. I'm always trying to learn the next thing, not just in digital marketing and business, those things I need, but also life, balance, happiness, joy. This year, although we're going to make less gross revenue at EZMetrics, every single person on my team is happy. Every single person on my team doesn't miss their kids' sports games. Yeah. Every single person on my team is able to be there when they need to be there for family. Because it's one thing to say God, family, and business, and it's another thing to live it. In 2018, I did not live it.
Yep, I've seen that too. Yeah. Same guy I was working for.
Yeah. And
same guy missed the whole year of his kid's life.
Yeah, and so I'm fortunate that I realized that young. I'm wondering where that's gonna take us. So then the second piece circles back to my father, who, if you ever watch this, what's up, Dad? Probably won't.
Your dad's actually our biggest fan. He's been.
You didn't know that he's a top.
Yeah,
he's got a top fan
awesome.
badge
Appreciate
on Facebook.
That. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's praying for us too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. We need it, Paul. After don't listen to some of our former podcasts.
I have. No, it's okay. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
Shit.
You know,
we're in trouble now.
No, I don't even. It's. But either way, he really lived by the mind your pennies and the dollars will take care of themselves. He supplies convenience stores, party stores with candies and things like that. So pennies matter. I flipped that. So this is where the money comes in. I literally wanted to figure out how much can I get paid per hour. Like if I have to trade my time for money. Now the retainer program, right? The mastermind, it's no longer an hour for dollars thing. I have to do 4 events a year. So, okay, maybe that's a little bit of my time. I have to do 4 events a year, but I really, really enjoy those events. So it doesn't even, so then it's how much can I get per hour? And so that's where the coaching comes in. Our average client right now is investing $625 per hour. They have to commit to 4 weeks in advance. They have to pay that in advance, or else I'm not getting on a Zoom call with you, because I'd rather go be with my daughter. I make $250 a month from these people who I literally don't have to talk to.
Yeah.
And so it's changed the perspective.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because we talked about, me helping people in real estate, essentially my hourly rate's $2,000 an hour. People are like, that's insane. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And my comment is,
it doesn't matter.
I don't care. I mean, to me, my time is what I want. And I like being able to do all these other activities I do. You might think it's not worth it, which, by the way, I can easily make the justification for it. But I'd sit there and tell people, I've had people recently reach out to me and say, hey, can I grab some time with you? I'm like, I charge people now. And they're like, well, why? I'm like, because my time is what I have. That's what I have. I don't need anything else. And so it's funny. Before it used to be a value thing. Yeah. Now it's, no, I don't want to do it. If you want me to do this for you, I have no problem doing it. $2,000 an hour. Yeah. That's crazy. Okay, say ya.
I actually think knowing a little bit about your history, your portfolio, walking into your studio, which is amazing, and just the things you have, I think you should be charging a lot more than that. I don't know. Does he hate all of his competitors? Because I mentioned Robert Kiyosaki and thought I was going to get kicked out.
Yeah, he hates most folks. About this outside of this room. No, I'm kidding, Paul.
No, he's actually right.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm very critical of the people in our industry.
Yeah. Well, you look at I was going to drop Grant Cardone.
Don't say that.
Oh, God, Grant Cardone. Right, well. The only Cody Sperber, what's his name?
Yeah, he's up there with the Lamborghini.
He's worse than Grant Cardone.
Yeah, he's up there.
Listen, we shouldn't use the word hate, but here's the deal. I see so much unethical behavior going on with such an important aspect of people's lives. And I've literally seen, there's a story where a guy wrote a book where he became a financial advisor. He thought he was applying for a security job, and he was applying for a securities job. He literally thought he was signing up to be a guard, and he became one of Fidelity's big salespeople. And I'm like, what the hell? Tim's going to say something.
Tell Jacob how long we stayed at the Dean Graziosi event.
We walk in, me, Mary, and Tim walk into Dean Graziosi, get our free book. We said, is Dean here? No, but his partner's here. See ya. Literally walked out the door.
Yeah,
and went to Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Went to Taco Bell, which was delicious, by the way. Yeah. But we don't, I'm very critical of it because, Jacob, just like you, I mean, how many marketing people out there are, religious people? How many people are saying, like, love Jesus, and then behind everybody's back there, I won't make examples.
Yeah, pharmacists without a license. Hey.
Yeah, exactly. Well, by the way, that's, not even that, worse things than that. But I look at it going, I'm very critical of the financial industry because anybody can put a hat on and say, oh, I'm a real estate expert. Why? Because the last 3 years I made money. Well, everybody made money in the last 3 years. Yeah. Show me where you were when Grant Cardone started out as a car salesman motivator guy.
Yep.
Why is all of a sudden he buying $100 million properties? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've seen his numbers. He claims making 20-some% returns. I'm like, no, not possible. Go ahead.
I was just going to say one of the reasons why Grant's able to do that, and I'm not going to look at him, is because Grant pushes out a lot of content.
He 100% does.
A lot of video.
And he buys a G5 and he has the plane coming in and all that stuff. Here's my Rolls Royce. But, Mary knew somebody. who used to go to Grant Cardone events, and he'd talk about how much he learned there, and Mary would be like, well, what'd you learn? He's like, I just learned so much. Meanwhile, he's getting out of a Rolls Royce with Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, I had a ticket to his last one and didn't make it just because I looked at kind of the value as you know what's going to be there. But either way, the only reason I brought that name up, one, I read a lot, so I've read his books. I've read everybody's books.
I don't think Paul could argue with his work ethic.
Yeah.
So, no, absolutely not.
Definitely, yeah.
That guy's a salesman. He's a hustler. No problem. But I would argue with what he believes about his investing.
Yeah.
Do you know a guy named Joe DeLoss, Hot Chicken Takeover? You ever heard of this?
No, I haven't.
He started from zero, in Columbus-based fried chicken joint. Started from zero to probably 200 or 300 employees now, 5 or 6 locations. But he employs a workforce that's about 80% of ex-felons. My numbers may be a smidge off.
Yeah.
You end up, but like you were saying, he gives people another chance in life. So inevitably, his product is the people. He doesn't even actually like chicken. But anyway, it's just a sort of similar
yeah, and
thing.
without sounding too, business, I guess one of the things I found out after we started employing ex-cons is in Illinois, it's a 40% tax break.
And stuff was missing from your desk too.
Yes. Well, either way,
it's a trade-off.
That was a joke.
Yeah. No, I joke. When I leave, I throw out that same exact joke. So hey, my MacBook's gonna be here when I get back. And
How funny.
Nina actually, Christina is her name, was actually bold enough to say, Jacob, I'm not making that many trips up and down the stairs. We're on the second floor, no elevator. So I'm just not willing to.
What do you mean 40% tax break? So whatever you pay them, you get 40% a credit or just a deduction?
A deduction.
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
But yeah, so
on top of
and it's only if you're recently out. There's a lot of terms to it, but in Illinois, it's pretty sweet. So I went to them and said, hey, you guys got friends? When do they get out?
Yeah.
Because to be a good sales representative, that's a whole different industry. I really genuinely believe in my core, you have to go from one FU to the next FU with no lack of enthusiasm.
Paul's telling me I need to learn that better. So.
Oh, because I'm terrible at it.
Yeah.
Jacob, if you got picked on the phone and somebody said no, I'd be like, yeah, I got to go home. But but I talked to Seth. I'm like, Seth, you just got to roll right through it.
Yeah, you just got to roll with the punches. And the very next call, you can't let them know what happened on the last call.
Yeah.
They don't know what happened on the last call, and for all you know, they're having the best day of their life.
What has being a new father done for your life?
It changed everything. Yeah, before it was not necessarily the pursuit of money, but it was. I wanted to be a 1%er. That was like a goal. I wanted to personally, after taxes, take home $400,000, and we did accomplish that in 2018. So I was very excited for that. But that was my first year doing it, and now in 2019, I won't be able to do that. But in order to do that, in the industry I'm in, I'm sure he could teach me a lot for his $2,000 an hour, which are probably worth way more than that.
Well, I appreciate that, Jacob.
There's other ways to
I'll
make
submit
money.
my bill when this is done. By
Appreciate
the way.
you. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, if you want me to promote this and get it out there for you, we'll.
What? Who's what? Crickets. Go ahead.
But yeah, so being a father changed everything. I realized that money isn't everything. I started reverse engineering life a lot more, realizing that if I only live until I'm 75 years old, how much time do I actually have left? And I started looking at more of a time thing, not time for money, but time of how much time do I have left to spend with Arabella? How much time do I have left? So I literally reverse engineer it. My wife just thinks I'm an idiot for this, but I'll look at her like she's a year and a half. I was like, we literally have.
Paul does the same thing. You guys think similar.
I'm like, we have 16 and a half years left.
Except I say I have 60. I always say I'm going to live to 100.
Okay.
So I would say I got 62 years left.
Yeah. I guess I'm a pessimist. I said
but
75.
time flies though.
Yeah.
Time really flies, and I look at it going, yeah. I'm glad you say that. What is your so your wife stays at home with the kids?
Yes. Yep. She was able to stop working in 2015.
Well, that's good.
So she was bored, and now she actually has her own little side gig where she sells knit hats, and she's crushing it for like babies and infants and stuff.
Do you help her with her marketing?
She doesn't let me. So
isn't that interesting?
She has a killer. Well, she helped me build this whole company. Let's be real. I mean, she used to travel with me to the keynotes. This is how we used to do it too when we first were getting started. Is we'd go fly to these keynotes and these events because I used to speak at almost every Ziglar event in Dallas. They allowed me to, and of course, good business. They'd get a cut when I closed sales. Good business. But we would go rent the SUV, so we looked nicer pulling in, but then we'd stay in it and park in a Planet Fitness parking lot. Right, that's where we'd sleep. And then we'd go clean up in the morning in Planet Fitness. Like that's literally what we did in the beginning of this to live that part. And a lot of people aren't willing to do that. And my wife did that with me.
Were you guys married at the time?
No. So
you're living in sin?
Yeah, appreciate you. Thank you.
No problem.
What did that commitment? What did that early commitment mean to you? Paul, damn it!
I'm
trying to have a serious
I'm going
conversation.
home.
What? This is what I do. This is what I do. Go ahead.
No, and
He knew it was coming.
Yeah,
I saw his eyes.
I knew where he was going.
I saw his eyes. He's like,
there's just a level. There's just a level of like, Paul, don't ask that.
Yeah,
like,
I saw it. He's like, he's gonna say it. He's like, this motherfucker's gonna say it.
Yeah, just Paul, don't ask that.
Well, I tried to ask you a serious question.
Yeah, what was your
but
serious question? Let's try to land
Nothing, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
Come on, ask the question. You probably don't even remember.
You know,
it.
my wife and I have been together for 20 years, and so that her commitment to me through everything, through investing $5,000 into magic cards this past weekend.
Don't put it in me.
Well, I mean, you know the story.
Of
What I mean
course.
to say, he doesn't know the story, but she's been with me through all the things I've tried, tried and failed at, and it's gotten to the point whatever I want to do or say in terms of the money or something I want to try in this world, she's always incredibly supportive, and I'm sure your wife is the same way, right? I mean,
Yeah,
you get to reflect on it often.
Yeah, I mean, I literally would not be where I am without her. I mean, every decision we make, from even coming here, from the team, from building the staff, to changing direction, to buying the new office that we have now and renting, but leasing the new office. I mean, I soundboard everything past her. She's always encouraging, always supportive, and she'll tell me when she thinks I'm wrong, which I appreciate because I need someone to keep me stable and keep me kind of balanced, and she's done that for me.
Paul, how do you want to close this up, baby? I could talk to this guy all day.
And talk to him all day. I mean, he's got a lot of good stuff. I mean, our selfish reasons for having Jacob is what we always talk about. We don't have a big office. We have a lot of employees through all the subsidiary companies, but upstairs it's only 7 or 8 of us, right? And we're sitting here with the advertising. I'm just like, that's why I said we got to bring Jacob in, because I want to make sure that we don't F this up, because we have a small window. And I remember with the email campaign, I was just like, yeah, we're not doing emails the way we should.
Yeah.
And I realized that, Jacob. It's just, I don't want to be that guy who annoys people, but I got less of that. Like a year and a half ago, I was like, no, I don't like getting the emails. But then I realized I just unsubscribe. What I don't like is when I unsubscribe from somebody and I get
get another email.
And it still happens all the time.
Yeah. That's one thing we are specific on. We follow, there's can spam rules and regulations, and we follow those. If somebody unsubscribes or clicks unsubscribe, we have a little ninja trick for that too that we use that might be wrong. But we actually, what we do is we create our own hyperlink that says click here to unsubscribe. If you click it, it applies a tag, takes you to a unsubscribe confirmed, and then we delete you. But that way our software, which we use Infusionsoft or Keep, it doesn't flag us as, everybody's opting out. Right? What it looks like then is, they're clicking your link, they're opening your email and clicking your link. Great, we can keep sending you from our secure servers.
Oh, look at that.
But then I actually delete them out of the database so they no longer get those emails, and we stop calling them.
At the end of the day, they're still getting the intended result.
We just did it a different way to keep our open rates high. So that's a little ninja trick for all the listeners who do email marketing.
Sounds nerdy.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Listen, we're excited to work with you. I hope we work, and I told you this last time, I hope we're so successful with you that we work with you for a very long time. I mean,
you will be.
That's the thing. I only say that just because I'm the guy who hedges at times. But, we don't want to have a big office here. I think our office is great. Wouldn't you agree, Mary? Tim? Tim said it's okay.
Yeah.
Don, Don started as assistant, and like within 2-3 months, we're like, okay, Don, you're a little more dedicated than this. Drop out of school. School's stupid. And, we want to work with you because I used to want to have everything in-house, and I still do, but at the same token, it's like, I'd rather pay more and just have somebody else. It's a whole time thing. Yeah. Then I got to manage somebody and all that stuff. As opposed with you, Jacob, it's just like, Jacob, here are the results. Here's what it's costing us. This isn't working and this is working. Done.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's all measured in ROI. I can report leads, and I can report engagement, and I can report followings. We're trying so hard right now. We will hit it to get 5 million followers on the Ziglar page before the end of the year.
What do you guys at?
Like 4.8.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're getting close. So I took it from 1.2 to 4.8. And so I'm trying to hit it to 5, and by the end of the year we will. But the reality is 4.8 million followers still doesn't necessarily correlate into $4.8 million. Creating a good funnel with a good lead magnet as bait to bring that follower over, so that way they can get their name, email, and phone number, or see the offer at that time. That's how you're going to get your ROI. And even with the Ziglar Corporation, this is something that I don't publicly say everywhere, but I can. Is we still generate the vast majority of their ROI from paid advertising. Even though we have 4.8 million followers, that doesn't mean we have 4.8 million buyers. And that's one thing to really understand as business owners too.
Awesome.
Where are all the outlets that folks can find you?
Facebook is number one. Would love to have you connect with me on Facebook. That's, of course, my ministry page. If you just look up Jacob Salem, or if you use my @tag @Chaplain Salem, I use that @tag on every single platform. And so you can find me there as well.
Thanks, bro. Jacob, this has been one of our longest podcasts ever. Flew by.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it is.
An hour. I can't believe the vast. I sort of preface this with, man, I've heard some people kind of like you, and it sounds like they're full of shit, and it seems like you know a lot of stuff about a lot of platforms and get this going. So I'm hoping maybe we can work together in the near future.
You know, I was just thinking that, but right now I was just thinking to myself,
Holy
like,
shit.
yeah, Seth,
Amazing.
we gotta sit down and talk with Jacob. But
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
Coming all the way from
glad to be here.
Chicago,
Thank you
and,
guys for allowing me to be on with you. It's been fun.
Yeah, this has been our pleasure, right, Paul?
pleasure is all yours.
Thanks again, guys. I'm Seth, Paul, Jacob. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, man.